Hey everyone, Burly and Gaming here with,
Murple the Purple.
and we are here discussing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. We've both beaten the game. I played this on Steam and on my PC. How did you play the game, Murple?
I played it on my PC, but I did the Xbox Game Pass. First time ever using it, actually.
How did you find the Game Pass app?
uh, it was tricky at first, but once I kind of got to the game, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I know how to use this now, and I got
Fair,
back into playing Xbox.
fair enough. And just so everyone here, we will be discussing the game, reviewing and all that, but we're gonna keep this pretty spoiler free, as this we don't want to spoil the story, but there will be some small stuff shown and some points I'm sure we'll talk, but we will keep the story spoilers to a minimum.
Best as we can.
Yeah, there's gonna be stuff, and got some gameplay here, footage here that I'm just starting up in the background. Even though I did play this on PC, I did try this because I have the Steam version. I tried it on the Steam Deck. Yeah, it'll run on the Steam Deck, but visually it looks nowhere near as good as it does here on my PC with my 9070 XT graphics card. Like, I have this thing on like really high settings, and I'm getting 60 plus frames, and it looks good, smooth.
I think I ran it on 60 frame per second too on my PC.
And say with your 40 series card,
Yeah.
that the specs weren't too bad for this one. I think like the recommended was 2070 or something around that. So
I think so. Yeah.
so you could have an older card and run the game quite well and still look pretty good. You know what? Since we're talking graphics, why not just go into the graphical segment here?
Yeah.
This game looks beautiful.
I was definitely blown away with the graphics when I first loaded up. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't think video games could get this good.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you, and especially like I have tweaked on and off stream with the graphical settings. Some of it you're like, oh wow, it can look this good. Alrighty, just sitting there and tweaking it, and it's like, and then I have seen it footage from the consoles, and especially like if you do the PlayStation 5 Pro and stuff, the Xbox Series X, it really like this thing looks great.
Developers really blew it out of the water.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of developers, there's a team of 33 people, and a couple. I think it was. Forgive me if I'm wrong here, and let me know in the comment section if it like 2 or 3 ex Ubisoft employees.
I think so.
That,
Yeah.
that made it. So it shows you. Just because they may work at one company, they get to go and do what they want to do and be able to do their passion project. It shows.
Every time I played this game, I just gushed about like, how many people worked on this game? And then someone said like, oh, it was only around 33. I'm like, what? I thought you need like 100 plus people to make a AAA title. I was like, no, you don't. You just need a passion.
Well, you need passion. You need good people. You need like this thing. You can have passion, but if you don't have the talent behind it and the drive to get you there, it's not going to be enough.
I think they were all like junior developers too. Like they weren't they weren't in the field for like 30 plus years, but they weren't like in the field for like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Somewhere. Yeah, I don't know the full stats behind everyone, but like, you know what? For this studio, they knocked it out of the park. I think we can easily say we are going to gush a lot about the game throughout this. They knocked it out of the park. Visually, it looks great. The sound and audio design and the music, very good job.
The music. My opinion, definitely the music.
This is a game I have. I'll be honest. I have listened to the soundtrack when I'm not playing the game. Like I just can pull it up on YouTube, just listen for certain themes, certain songs.
I have it on my Spotify.
I was gonna say, knowing you probably have it on Spotify, and I'm gonna be surprised if other people like that. Did a really good job, because the thing is, a lot of these kind of games, they'll put into the graphics and all the other stuff in the soundtrack usually isn't always up to snub. For this, they
Nope.
knew if you have a good soundtrack, it adds to it. So well done on them for that.
I came to this game when I popped in your stream one time. I was like, oh, what's this game? I never heard of it. And then I downloaded it. I'm like, oh my god, best game ever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we heard rumblings of it for years, and like I had heard and seen stuff years ago on it, and not seen much. But and then at the Game Awards, we got the big trailer on it, and like I had this pre-ordered physically. I kind of kicked myself a little bit because I had a physical PS5 copy pre-ordered, but PD Keys had a sale just when this game went live, and it was like, okay, it was like a good $30 I saved getting it digitally. So it's like, yeah, and this is not a full price game. Like, this is here in Canada, it is $66.99 before tax.
I think so, yeah. And I was blown away with that price. I'm like, normally here in Canada, games are like $90, close to 100.
Yeah, 90, or now and especially with the tariffs, it's like 112 to 120. So you get a lot for your money's worth here.
Yeah, like, definitely. They could have easily priced this to be about $100 game, but I was pleasantly surprised with the price.
That's the thing. Like, the game does go for a good aggressive price strategy, but it is also, as you played, is in Game Pass. So if you do want to play the game and you're a little hesitant on trying it, it is in Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you can pull it up on the Xbox, on the PC, whatever you preferred method of playing it, and trying the game out.
I think on its first day of launch, the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it sold like 2 million copies in its first day. I'm like, I've never heard... I heard them selling like, 5 million copies, or 1 million copies, or 500 copies, but 2 million one day? Holy crap.
Yeah, and they had sold after 33 days exact 3.3 million.
Yeah.
It's just it's just too funny that.
Yeah.
But
33 days later.
Yeah, but you know what? It does the old homage of, if you make a good product and good word of mouth is spreading, people are going to want to play it and try your game out. Now, we haven't talked combat, but combat on this, it is a turn-based RPG, but with timed and action elements.
Which I'm not very good at sometimes.
Fair enough, but like, I like it. I think they did a very good blend of it, because like, people have done runs where you don't actually have to, how you get the prompts. Press A in the case of PC if you're using like an Xbox controller to your hit to get your perfect. And your dodges and your parries. People have done it. You can beat the game without using any of that. It's just a bonus.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, which is it is a nice thing if you grew up with like Super Mario RPG and other Sea of Stars and other RPGs with these whole timed hit mechanics. Once you get into it, for doing the hits on them and the dodging.
Yeah.
Dodging some of the moves in the later game, they're hard and they throw you off. Like, you will get faint sounds, but it's not as easy as you think. Like that's the thing. People I've seen, oh, dodging's not that bad. Dodging's not that bad. Dodging is easy, but on most attacks it's easy. But there are going to be those few attacks where you're like, okay, I can't dodge. Like, trying to dodge this. The parry mechanic I did like.
I liked it, but I can't do it.
That's the thing. I can do it. I didn't start really doing it till more later in the game. I spent more of my time dodging.
Yeah.
I get the benefit is if you parry multiple attacks in a row, you can do the counter and get some extra damage, which is nice, but you parry 2 out of the 3 attacks, you take a bit of damage, but you don't get that counter attack.
Yeah.
So it's a risk reward, and it's like, if it's something easy, multiple quick, easy hits, I know myself, I can just dodge them all. Yeah, I may not get the extra damage, but I'm not taking damage. So you sit there and play with what your kind of play style. I do like that you have your ranged attack with
Mhm.
the left trigger, and you can do stuff, hit weaknesses. I use those mostly for, in the case of with Verso, just to help build up his gauge.
Yeah, same. I do that with Verso too.
To build up his gauge, but mostly I'm using them to either, if it's an enemy that's put up some shields and you got to break the shields before you can damage them, using those to break up the shields.
And flying units.
Yeah, and flyers. I was gonna say, yeah, flyers we saw earlier in there. I show it off. You attack a flyer, it's like a 90% chance you're just gonna miss.
Yeah.
It's only if you get like 10%, maybe too high, but a small percentage you'll actually hit them. Uh,
Speaking about the fighting mechanics and stuff like that, it just popped in my head. I do like how everyone can have a different play style with like the pictos that you can get, or like what abilities that characters can use. Because like pictos that I use would be different from pictos that you use in your playthrough.
Oh yeah,
no doubt. And like the abilities I would use for like the character with Verso, as you were mentioning, I could have different abilities than what you did because you're like, oh, this fits me better. Versus two, I have them as like, oh, I want high damage, but you're like, I don't care about the high damage. I just care about multiple hits in a row to build up his rank system. But I would be like, nah, I just care about doing the most damage.
Fair enough. Like that is something, and like, yeah, and that every level up you're getting those ability points. And I would generally, for the first while, I was saving up the ability points, and then okay, I'm in this area, they're weak to lightning. Okay, oh, my different party members can get lightning abilities. Okay, let's just get those lightning abilities, equip them, and then like for a while, because for the first while you really want to take advantage of exploiting elemental weaknesses, especially if you are playing on the higher difficulties. You'll need that, so that way you can actually do some damage.
And elemental weaknesses of like or elemental of weapons that you can equip, because not all of them has elements to them.
Yep, that is true. And the thing is, if you liked a certain weapon, because later on I'll show the weapon and they have their levels and they have extra little abilities. If you like a certain weapon, if you don't want to use the new weapon you got in the dungeon, you don't have to. You can level these weapons up, and you can level them up pretty early. And they will, if you put the love and care into your weapons, and you're smart about it, you can get some really good weapons. Like I have had ones that, okay, I got them past the level 20. They now have an ability where, in the case of like one character, if the one character uses up all his AP in a turn, it gives my other two party members +2 to their AP.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah, and this character had like a good one that would use like 5 or 7 and do either like one that would healing everyone, or doing a mass amount of damage to the enemy party.
Yeah.
So I would do that and then restock my other characters so I could plan. And the nice thing is, in the battles, you'll get the little battle gauge on the left, and it'll show you the turn order of who's going to go. And well, it'll show the enemies. You can't tell which enemy, like if there's two of the same enemy, you can't tell which one is A and which one is B. They don't do that. So it's similar to the Final Fantasy X battle thing, but a little harder just because it doesn't tell you which enemy is which.
Yeah.
If it's two of the same.
It's like, is it the one that's like on less AP or HP, or is it the one that has the most HP?
Yeah.
Because even when you're targeting them, they won't say like A, B, C. If it's like multiple enemies of the same type, will just be like, you want to attack this enemy? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I have one weapon on my L that keeps her in like the Valiant stance, I think it's called.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the battle, and I have not unequipped that. I have swords that does better damage output, but I'm like, I like the Valiant stance because that's her damage stance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every character in this game is unique. They all have their own unique gimmicks and ability sets that they can do. So every character feels unique. You want to try them out. try that, and then with their abilities. And the thing is, when you level them up, you get attribute points, and you can spend your attribute points however you want. So if you want, in the case of Verso, for example, if you just care about him damage, you can power up his attack. But as much as you want to just power up one stat, you want a good balance, especially speed is important, but your defense, especially depending on the Pictos, because the Pictos you can equip and they give you different abilities. And you can master abilities and swap the Pictos, kind of like the Final Fantasy VII Materia system.
Yeah, that's where I was like, huh, this feels Final Fantasy VII-esque, where you learn the abilities, and then you don't have to have that ability equipped to use it. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of Final Fantasy VII, which is, as you know and everyone else know, my favorite one. So
Yeah,
that was a nice, cool. I like this.
Yeah, no, it is a cool thing in that they give you that mechanic. You can learn it and then use the lumen points to make sure you have that ability. So you really customize your party for battle. And then here, as we can see, you have the cool thing of you can change the outfits, you can change their haircut, or if they're wearing a hat and stuff. It's neat little stuff you can do. Like, I'd be honest, I was doing a bit of it in the beginning parts of the game, and then I was saving my money, and then it's like, I kind of don't know why I was saving my money for when I'd go to the shops and be like, oh, we have 3 lumen points in the shop. Oh, buying those because
I always did too.
the one thing though is in this RPG, you can't just stack up 99 potions, 99 revives,
No.
99 ethers. No, how it goes is you get a limited amount of them, but as you find items and do certain side quests and stuff, you'll be able to unlock more. But the nice thing is, after every battle, you get it. The game just autosave.
Yeah.
It's an autosave system. You can only manual save at the flags, but you just do the rest and stuff and get them. But it's a neat thing of when you're done a battle, like I would do a couple battles in a row. I would just pop the elixir because it killed the party. But I found, except for in the final dungeon, I never felt too bad of, oh my god, going between checkpoints in an area and not being able to heal.
I find when you're in dungeons, there's a lot of checkpoints. Like the flags, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can go rest at them, and it would like not only heal me, but it would revive like if I use any healing potions in the battle, because that is something that the flags do as well. Like if you use all of your healing potions in battle, well, guess what? If you go into another battle, you're not going to have them. You got to go to the flag.
Exactly. But you've got the flags, and you know what? We're speaking dungeons. Overall, the dungeons I really did enjoy, but this is my one real nitpick, and they still haven't patched this. It is, or done something for this, is when you're in these dungeons, you have no map.
No.
You have a map in the overworld, and the map in the overworld is good. But some of these dungeons, they get big, and like, I'll be honest, I have a bad sense of direction and all that, and can easily get lost. And I'll be second guessing, especially if I'm in a lot of battles, or in the case like me, I'm streaming, like when I was playing this game, I was streaming it, so stuff going on in my stream, you'd forget sometimes, did I go down that left corridor? Did I go down all this way? And it's like, if I could pull out a map, I could kind of better visualize it, and it would, help for making sure like that you're not missing things, because nothing worse than you want to complete these dungeons as much as you can on the first try, and then have to be like, oh, I don't have. Oh, if I would have known there was a map here, like known there was this path here to get this, I would have got this on my first attempt. But sadly,
especially because like you go down a corridor and there could be like you go straight and then there's a left and a right. Okay, what's the wrong way to go first to explore? There's times when I would down one way. I was like, oh, this is the way to progress. I don't want to go this way yet. I want to check out that way. And like, there's so many like hidden stuff that you can find of like, you can find the expedition journals, you can find other useful pictos, just other collectibles in general. The collectibles was a nice touch.
Yeah, and they do give you a good reward system of, if you're willing to explore new things, you will be rewarded. And there are tons of spots. For most of the game, it is quite linear. You're just going place to place, but there are side areas, and they will tell you their danger. But if you're willing to explore and, willing to bash your head through it, because sometimes you will be a little under-leveled, you can really over-level, get some really good weapons early, get some abilities early. That really does help you.
And don't ignore SK.
Yeah, well, don't ignore SK. You have to use SK.
Yeah.
He's part of the plot, but the nice thing is, it's like you don't get fast travel, but
no,
you will get him. You get him to fly and swim. Mm-hmm. You'll get the swim first, and then the fly eventually later in the game, and then that way you can go back, because there are stuff in certain areas at the beginning areas of the game you want to do stuff, but you can't. Because you need certain abilities and certain other things. Mm-hmm. You'll come back later, you can now do them. The nice thing is, you don't actually have to use a party of 3. Like in the case of this, I only had Verso out. You can have as many or as little, like you can 3 party members max, but if you want to use 2, you can use 2. If you want to use 1, you can use 1. The game is pretty, except for certain boss fights, and you'll understand when you get to them, because they do a good job of explaining it. You can have as many or as little as you want, so you can really balance the difficulty the way you want. Plus, you have a difficulty select, and like the difficulty, not only does it affect your damage, it also affects the timing for the dodges, the doing the actions for the perfect, as well as the parries. So.
But just looking at the gameplay, I can't get over how good gameplay is.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, it's like, I think the game does a really good job for its length. Like, the game took me, and I did some side stuff, and farting around, and plus you take some, because I was streaming the game, take a little bit of time out for bathroom breaks, stretch breaks, and stuff. The game took me around. If you take out that kind of stuff, the game took me like 34 hours, 36 hours before I beat it.
Yeah, about the same length for me, because I also took, like, there was times when I was playing and I just put my controller down, just listening to the music. I'm like, oh my god.
Yep.
Because the music was just so great, especially when it came to certain fight scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Fight battles? Yeah, I'll use that word.
When you're boss battles, you're getting the specialized themes. Yeah, no, it is.
Especially one boss fight that I know you know of.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I heard it, I'm like, holy crap. This is amazing. And I was there for a good, 5 minutes just vibing to the song.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, I know I have to fight you, but why is your music so good?
Yeah, no, it shows, and I was very impressed with the story, the writing. We're not going to spoil the story, but story I felt flowed well. Well written, and I didn't see everything coming. It's not one of these RPGs where, okay, play the first 5 hours and you're like, oh, this is going to happen, this. We're going to save the world and all come together and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah. Speaking of the writing, now that I think about it, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I think they found the writer on Reddit. I'm pretty sure that's where they found her, was on Reddit.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
They found some people that way, and I think one of the artists, because they were showing some of their art as well.
Yeah,
they found people on different areas, which is nice to see that they're not just going through the
I think their sound developer they found on SoundCloud.
Yeah, right on.
They started off with a team I think of 5 or 10 at first, and then they just progressed to be more.
Yeah.
And they just found their people in like places that you didn't think you would find people, like, you know, like I said, SoundCloud, Reddit, but they made it work.
Exactly. That's the thing. When you find the right people and it really does work and show.
And well, voice actors, that they kind of, a lot of the voice actors, I'm like, oh, I don't know who you are, but you, damn, your voice is good. The
Well,
only ones that really stuck out to me was Mael's voice actor and Verso's voice actor. Because as soon as Verso starts talking, I'm like, yeah, I know who you are.
well, yeah, you got Ben Starr. Like, you have a lot of great actors and actresses. Some that are very well known in here, but like the not only just the dialogue in between party members you'll get through the story, but when you're in the encampment that I showed earlier, and it'll come back to here shortly, and is when you talk with the party members in the encampment, and you know, when you're in there, you know, whether you're going there because you got to go there plot wise, or you're just resting up on the map to save, or you want to, hey, I got a new weapon, I want to go to the forge and level it up. You can do these things and get bonds and relationships with the different party members. It is worth doing it, because when you level them up at certain levels, you'll get access to certain abilities and skill sets that will change how you do the battling.
Definitely.
Especially when you get later on in the game. It is worth, like, it's worth doing it. Like, you can't, they do it at a fairly good pace, so it's not like, oh my gosh, you have to do it after every mission for every person. No. They spread it out, I think, just at a well enough, so that way, as long as you're checking it after story missions, you'll notice for certain people. It will take a bit of time, but if you're willing to put the time into that, you will get rewarded well enough.
One thing I like about the voice actress and voice actors too is, for me, if I can hear the emotion that they're portraying in their character, I'm like, okay, you got talent. I love you. That's why when I heard like Verso's voice of his emotion, especially Mael's, because I find Mael had the most emotion. That's just me personally. I'm like, pulling at my heartstrings, man.
Oh yeah, no, you'll definitely, with those characters, you will definitely get your most emotion.
And Gustav, too.
Yeah. Yep.
He's my favorite. He'll remain my favorite.
Fair. Yeah. No. It's.
He became my favorite more so when I found out who his voice actor is. Like, oh my god, you're Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old Charlie Cox. But that's just one other thing I wanted to make mention is, you may get abilities early in the game and you'll think, oh, I'm never gonna still use this. Luma's first burn move, where it does burn damage and applies to burn damage. I kept that on her throughout the game because I loved using the burn. I would do that, and I had special Picto abilities from her where every time she would do burn damage, would double the burn, which also doubles the burn damage. And then when you get, like, in the case of this, like my Gustav, the final weapon Gustav Verso's final weapon has is a fire sword, and every time you attack adds burn. So you combine that with her, and her using that one ability costs like 2 AP, but you can easily stack up AP with her, and then Momoko, his weapon giving AP every time I drain his moves, I would have like pretty much infinite AP, keeping burn just going and going.
Yeah.
And when you have the damage break Pictos, and you get the burn up high, especially with that, you can have it. Oh, I killed one boss because it became their turn and did 50,000 burn damage. Just the beginning of their turn. I love
so
that.
Fun.
When you kill enemies or bosses with the burn, like, even if they are not weak to fire and they resist, but they can still be burned, it is worth using. Like,
definitely.
Well, I was gonna say, I think we should just get to our final scores here,
because I could gush about this game for hours and hours.
Yeah, we both could. So for me, I love this game. Put a lot of time. Every time I put this game down, it was like, damn, I want to keep playing. But in the case of me, it was like, I got to go to work the next morning. I got this, I got that. So I have to stop.
But I don't wanna.
I don't want to. Yeah, that's the thing. For me, I love the story, love the combat, loved pretty much everything about the game. But I just have some small nitpicks. No map in dungeons makes it way too hard for me at points of knowing have I've done everything, and then I have to go to YouTube stuff and find guides or posts online just to try and figure out if I've got all the important stuff. For me, I'm gonna give the game a 9 out of 10. I want to give it a 10, but it's a
Yeah.
little hard when you have some small nitpicks. But this is definitely my game of the year for 2025. We will definitely see this at the Game Awards for.
It better be.
Yeah, well, even if for whatever dumb reason it's not for Game of the Year candidate, it's definitely there for RPG of the Year.
Yeah.
We're definitely there for soundtrack and stuff like that, and voice actors and all that.
Let Ben Starr win.
Yes, but
I think he was nominated last year and he didn't. He didn't win. But
yeah. What for you? What's your review for the game?
Definitely a 9.5 because
okay,
the lack of a minimap I don't mind because I do play a lot of games where you're in a dungeon and there is no minimap for the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't give it a 10 mainly because I can't parry. the only time I can parry is when the game tells you to parry of when there's an ability coming of a gradient attack. Both you can do it and your enemies can do it.
Yeah.
That's the only time I can parry. Other than that, nope. I try and I die. I'm like, yeah, nope, I'm sticky dodging.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
this is definitely my game of the year. If it don't get nominated, I'll be very, very sad.
Oh, this thing. I think it will definitely get nominated. I hope it wins. And
I do too.
This just shows you don't need to have because the game's budget is like a tenth of what a normal big AAA game budget is nowadays. It shows you can have a smaller budget if you really focus in on your quality. You don't go too bloated, too big. You can have something everyone's talking about, and they take a lot of the standard RPG stuff you've played in a lot of turn-based RPGs, but add some new mechanics to it, tweak some mechanics to make it feel fresh and new like that. I think that's why it helped gravitate to everyone so well.
It has a lot of elements from, if you're a fan, you could be a fan of the Persona series, and you might like it because they took inspiration from Persona, Final Fantasy, probably a whole lot of other RPGs out there, but Final Fantasy and Persona is the only thing that pops out of my head right away.
Well, yeah, this is definitely the modern kind of turn-based Final Fantasy people have been asking for
years now.
Yeah.
Ever since they kind of dropped the turn-based mechanic from Final Fantasy, people was like, bring it back. And they never did. It's it's kind of like an open world. You can move where you want to in the battlefield. I'm like, that's nice, but I want turn-based back.
Yeah, I would love a turn-based game again.
I don't know when they got rid of that.
Well, technically, 10 was the last. 10 was the last one.
Oh.
Because 12 was the whole gambit system where you would set gambits of do this or that. Technically, you could turn all the gambits off and do a whole convoluted thing, but it was that kind of. I feel, yeah, it adds more gameplay, but for 12, but then it's like you're not using the main game's mechanics. 13 was still was turn based, but it was a weird kind of thing. 15 was where went action.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we'd love to hear from everyone in the comments section. What did you think of the game? Is it a game you've played, not played? Is it a game you're gonna try? We both highly recommend it. It's not a long game, and if you want to flow through it easier, you can turn down the difficulty, and you take less damage. I think the bosses have less health and stuff like that, and just
I
small
think,
little
yeah.
extra modifiers for more timing on stuff. Do that kind of stuff, and we both highly recommend you experience it.
Definitely. And like,
Eh,
it's not very, like Burly was saying, it's not very long if you just not do any side stuff and just like, okay, I'm going straight to the story. I think it's like maybe 25 hours long, if that.
It'd be about close, yeah, 25 to
But if you're, I
maybe
think if you're doing
30 hours, because you won't really throughout the game. Like, I didn't really have to level grind.
No, I never either.
I level grinded at the end because I got to the boss. It was a little under leveled. I probably could have beaten it with my levels. It just was a harder fight. But when I fought these enemies here, you can get one of Verso's really good weapon, the burn sword.
Yeah. Oh, I hated fighting those things.
Yeah, but
it took me a good half hour trying to like figure out a strategy with them.
That's the thing. Once you beat them once, you get so much EXP. You get his weapon and that weapon, and then you get the stuff to upgrade that weapon. So I would just go back to the flag there, heal up, get all those upgrades, and then every time I fought one, it'd get faster and faster and faster, and then I got to the point where I could kill these things within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was just flying around the map. It's like, ooh, I've never been here. What's here? And then I'm like, oh, it's like not. It was like only like a singular like music item for camp. I'm like, okay, well that's fine. I wanted it, but the music is at camp is really good.
Yeah. But thank you for helping out with this, Murple. Where can people find you?
For right now, I only have a Twitch, which is just called MurpleThePurple. I'm working on getting a YouTube up, as well as Blue Sky and Twitter and X. I forgot that's called X now. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter.
We're all still calling it Twitter. I will put your links in the description and a pinned message up on
this is also going to be a game I'm definitely going to stream. Right now, I'm not going to stream it because I have other games I'm streaming, and I have like a plan of games I plan to stream, but this is definitely I plan to stream it in the future.
Yeah,
because it's very fun.
Yeah, this is definitely a game I will go back to, but as I said earlier, thank you everyone. We'd love to hear from you all in the comments section. I think this is going to be the wrap here. Thank you all so much, both Murple and I. Thank you very much. See y'all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.